Hey pillars, welcome back to another recap. We're taking a look at Gran Premio Miguel Indurain 2021. It's a one-day Spanish race taking place in northern Spain. It's named after cycling legend Miguel Indurain. If you don't know, he's a Spanish rider that rode in the 90s. He has won the Tour de France 5 times in a row, not just 5 times, in a row, and he won the Giro d'Italia back-to-back. So when it comes to, honoring this cycling legend in Spain, this race does not disappoint. Now, in terms of the course profile, we're taking a look at it right now. What is it? It's 204 kilometers long, like I said, in northern Spain, starts in Estella and ends in Estella as well. I would say it's pretty hilly. There's around 3,500 meters of elevation. Anything above 3,500 meters of elevation gets a Peller certified hilly course status. So if it was around 38, 39, then I would consider it super hilly, but this is still, I would say, pretty hilly, 35 meters of elevation. Now, based on the course, this is how I see the race being played out. A breakaway is going to be pretty hard to stick because the hills are not that steep or long enough that a substantial time gap can be made, but we will see breakaways trying their best to stick away from the main peloton. At 157 kilometers to go, I do see that being the spot where the true attacks get off. Now, if we're taking a look at the climbs really quickly, we got the first climb, Alto de Grossen, at 52 kilometers, 3.5 kilometers at 4.1%. Then we got the second hill, which is the Alto Lezuan at 157 kilometers in the race, 3.5 kilometers at 5.4%. And then the third climb, so I do see favorites attacking there or trying their best to stick. And then the third climb, which is the Alto de Ejol, I butchered that, 194 kilometers within the race. That's where I truly see the breakaway coming together. If anything, the favorites have to be in this move if they want to win, and most likely this is where it's going to take place, and that's 3.5 kilometers at 5.5%. Now, if we're taking a look at the last 4 kilometers of the race, you can see it's a descent, a little bump, and then descend down to the finish line. And in terms of whoever attacks on that final climb, they're going to have to make sure that they don't take too much of a risk on the descent and can carry it to the line. And it's that final climb that I just talked about that I truly do believe that's going to be where the winning attack is done. It just makes sense based on the course profile. It's not hilly enough where I truly think a breakaway group is going to get away. And in terms of who's in the main peloton, the teams are going to be willing to chase. I just always love sharing what I think is going to happen or just the race tactics behind it. Now, in terms of the favorites and who I think have a good chance of winning today's race, we have the likes of Alejandro Valverde, we have Bauke Mollema, more of a sprinter, and then we have Luis Leon Sanchez, Alexei Lutsenko, and then also you have the likes of Guillermo Martin, and then Diego Yulsi, Enric Mas, also from Movistar. So it'll be a very interesting race. Now, this is where I have to specify this. This is Movistar's race to lose. They really didn't show up in Volta a Catalunya this year. They didn't play their cards right. Being the Spanish team, they should have done more at that race, but they didn't. So this is their one opportunity to really make up for it, especially it being a Spanish race. So in terms of Alejandro Valverde taking the win, if he doesn't get it done today, it's going to look pretty bad on the team because they didn't do anything at Volta a Catalunya. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the clip of this, but at 41 kilometers to go, there was a breakaway group with the likes of Luis Leon Sanchez, Ben Hermans, Ben Swift, Alvaro Cepeda, and they were working pretty well together. They had around 40-second gap on the main peloton. Now, playing the footage now, we have the likes of Movistar on the front, really trying to reel back this breakaway group with 14 kilometers to go, 40-second gap. It's very, very easy to bring this back if people start working, if teams start pulling on the front. So we see the likes of Cofidis getting on the front, start reeling this back because they don't want this breakaway group to stick because there's no representation for these other teams. So we see the likes of Luis Leon Sanchez at the back. He played really smart his cards in Paris-Nice and Volta Catalunya this year, and he's just really good at these breakaway efforts, so I just love seeing him race this year. Now you can see the breakaway group, they lose one rider, so now it's just Ben Hermans, Ben Swift, and Luis Leon Sanchez. Cofidis still at the front. The time gap from the main peloton to the breakaway group is just closing. We see the likes of Movistar still trying to close this gap, going on the front, really driving the pace. Now this is one person that was from the breakaway group. I'm pretty sure that's Alvaro Cepeda. He gets caught. Now on this other climb, Ben Swift is going to start getting popped off the back, unfortunately. So he disconnects from the top guys, which are Luis Leon Sanchez and Ben Hermans. So now basically the peloton is just closing this gap. It gets to 10 seconds, and you can see the likes of Alejandro Valverde. He attaches and attacks. He wants to attach to the front group with Luis Leon Sanchez with 10 kilometers to go. So basically at 10 kilometers to go, there's no breakaway group, and he attaches himself to Luis Leon Sanchez with 8 kilometers to go. So in terms of them riding together, they're both Spanish riders. They can work together. They can communicate. They can try to get, to the line as efficiently as possible. Now you have to remember, Alejandro Valverde is 40 years old, insane riding by him. Now we see from the same team of Luis Leon Sanchez, Lutsenko, from Astana, he wants to attack from the main peloton and bridge his way up to Alejandro Valverde and Luis Leon Sanchez with 2 kilometers to go. So he attacks, and Alejandro Valverde says, I'm going to attack. So he waits for the climb, which is called Let's Carta Buria. I butchered that. I apologize. But he attacks at the perfect time and drops Luis Leon Sanchez and Lutsenko. And he just has to, as long as he doesn't crash or takes too much risk on the descent, because if you did see the descent earlier in the video, you can see that it's just a little pitch to the line, and he basically just has to cruise it in, and it was just that perfect attack. And that's what Alejandro Valverde is so good at when it comes to climbing, is these just small punchy attacks. If he can do it properly, he can stick away for it. So yet again, he played his times very, very good, and we can see that first place Alejandro Valverde, Alexei Lutsenko from Astana second, we have Luis Leon Sanchez from Astana third, and then Bake Mollema 7. So unfortunately, it is a little too hilly, that where, you know, if it came down to the fact that if he could get over some climbs, then he could probably outsprint easily Alejandro Valverde. But unfortunately, that's not the situation. So in terms of race tactics, you know, Luis Leon Sanchez was in the breakaway for at least 30 kilometers. Alejandro Valverde was basically reeling back that breakaway for 30 kilometers. And then Lutsenko basically just bridged across. So it was very interesting. I would say all of them were relatively tired. And it really came down to who mentally could get over that final climb and stick with Alejandro Valverde's attack. And if you guys know him, if you guys have watched him, he always has something in his reserve. Always. So perfect attack. Good descending skills. He almost crashed at one point, but good descending skills, not too much risk, and he just timed his attack perfectly, honestly. And, you know, the fact that it was Lutsenko and Luis Leon Sanchez from the same team, they should have maybe done a little bit more tactics, but at that point, it's whoever has it in the legs, unfortunately. So I really loved this edition of the race. I think it was amazing racing, and in terms of tactics and everything, it was Movistar's race to lose. In terms of having the biggest hitter, I would say, you know, Alejandro Valverde, former world champion, he is the guy to watch. He's the marked rider. So Movistar, first win of the season. That's insane. And especially because it was a Spanish race, they were able to win the race. Great for sponsors, great for all that good stuff. So the fact that they didn't disappoint, I would have been disappointed because in Volta a Catalunya, they got Bozo Award because they were just doing race tactics that made absolutely no sense. So the fact that they came and brought it today and did a good job, I'm really excited for them. Hopefully they can carry this success with them for the remainder of the season. So that about wraps it up for the race recap. Great win for Alejandro Valverde from Movistar. If you guys did enjoy the video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, this is the juicy part that you probably are not expecting, but I will explain. So basically, how it's going to work going forward on this channel when it comes to race recaps and analysis. Basically, whatever race has taken place for the day, I will post the video on this channel, Peddler, for 1 to 2 days max. Most likely 24 hours, it will be live on this channel. Then it will go on the second channel that has the race recaps, link in the description below. So if you ever miss a race for whatever reason, the newest video on my channel will always have the link to my second channel in the description, and you basically just have to click that link and you will get to watch any of the old race recaps. But in terms of race recaps staying on this channel, indefinitely, that won't be the case. So let me repeat this one more time so it's super clear. The race recaps will be posted here only for the first 24 hours to 48 hours on this channel. Then once 24 hours, 48 hours goes, it will be posted on my second channel. Now, if you ever miss it, whatever video you click on going forward on this channel, there will be a link to my second channel where these race recaps will be posted. And I suggest you subscribe at that point if you guys are most likely potentially might miss it. But it will always be posted on Peddler, the main channel first, and then after 24 hours, 48 hours, it will be posted on the second channel. So that's how it's going to go going forward. Hopefully, maybe in the future, I can explain the whole situation. But right now, I just don't want to bore you guys. So that's how it's going to go. I hope you guys do enjoy the update. And these are coming back. And there's going to be a lot more of them. So I'm super excited. And until the next one, keep on pedaling.